The naval yard was actually a naval yard in San Pedro, and it was defunct. They were tearing it down. And so you go to the naval yard and you just sort of say, okay, what have we done so far? So far we've seen police cars chase them. We've seen people scattering, you know. We encountered a bus, but this was an opportunity to just up the scale. You know, everything at the naval yard was huge. So we just said, well, what are the biggest industrial strength vehicles we could encounter? And so one of the ideas was that Nick goes up a ramp and can't see that there's a dozer coming on the upper level. He goes airborne and lands and, you know, is able to turn and swerve out of the way of it. The police cars that followed him didn't have that luxury.
You always want to push as far as you can within safety limits, so you want to make something exciting that doesn't get anybody hurt, which, knock on wood, we did.
I put some ramps down for the police car to get some lift off of the ramp to put it into the bucket where we wanted. We gave him about 6 feet of lift, and he crashed head-on into the bucket. The police car was traveling about 30 miles an hour for the impact, so it was a pretty substantial hit. I put some tires in the bucket itself to kind of cushion the blow.
And so that became an element. And what if they're tearing it down and loading stuff up, what could they be taking away from the site? What if somebody was loading big canisters and you got freaked and one of them fell and hit the ground? Would it just sit there, or what if it didn't sit there? The canister sequence was an easy thing to sort of conceive. You know, we came up with it over lunch, and then it actually turned out to be days and days and days of shooting to actually accomplish it. It was actually launched through the wall. Those were all actually real canisters just being fired with air cannons. It didn't have gas spewing out of it that was propelling it around the pier. It was just a canister, and all of the gas effects were created in post by Secret Lab. In some of the shots, the canister is rigged to wires and just pulled with very strong motors.
We did a lot of stuff live on set with special effects, standing in front of the police cars, but a lot of it was staged and done through visual effects to give us, you know, the preciseness of it and the impacts where we wanted them.
It's not physically possible to snap it with a cable this way and then snap it back another direction, so whenever it's ricocheting off things, it's a CGI canister. The wrecking ball was actually simpler to do than the canister sequence because it was just a moment in time. We just brought the cranes and the wrecking balls to the location, built our own wall that was partially torn down already, and then we had shots where Nick was driving his car point of view. Of course, there wasn't a wrecking ball on there because there was only one Nick Cage, so in those shots, the cable and the wrecking ball are CGI, and they're created, you know, in post via Secret Lab.
We intercut back to the real wrecking ball for the impact. It was an unmanned vehicle with a dummy in the car. So the wrecking ball actually made impact with the truck.
In other angles, the police car was actually rigged via cable to be pulled through the wall. The wall was pre-scored, and then the moment where the wrecking ball hits it, it appears to be moving because it's cut very well.
It takes, you know, a couple of takes to get it exactly right when you're dealing with mechanics, but on the third take, we nailed it right where Dominic wanted it.